The food price is too high.
Stand your ground.
And every 2 months pass.
Stand your ground.
They're only raising the gas.
Stand your ground.
All across the nation.
Stand your ground.
It's only home invasion.
Stand your ground.
Now the light bill raised.
Stand your ground.
And on the guns in the place.
Stand your ground.
So we don't back down.
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 Stand your
This
ground.
current administration, they don't care about the people.
No way.
Everything they do in this country here is to fulfill their ego.
These people raise the gas and they laughing, saying how we ain't riot yet.
It's time for we to stand firm and show them right now we upset.
So stand your ground.
And if you're fed up of the crime,
Stand your ground.
the food price is too high.
Stand your ground.
And every 2 months pass.
Stand your ground.
They're only raising the gas.
Stand your ground.
All across the nation.
Stand your ground.
It's only home invasion.
Stand your ground.
Now the light bill raised.
Stand your ground.
And on the guns in the place.
Stand your ground.
So we don't back down.
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 Stand your ground.
Oh yeah, on the road to victory, yeah, on the road to victory, you gotta stand your ground, don't back down.
So we don't back down.
Stand your ground.
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 House of the rising
Oh
sun.
yeah, on the road to victory, yeah,
Come on.
on the road to victory, you gotta stand your ground,
UNC.
don't back
On
down.
the road to victory, standing strong and we ain't backing down. Cause we fed up of the school-less dictator, we're running the island.
Oh
This man
yeah,
come to mash up the country. Now the people have to push back.
Push back.
So it's time for us to stand firm and show them we ain't taking that.
So stand your ground. And if you're fed up of the crime,
Stand your ground.
the food price is too high.
Stand your ground.
And every 2 months pass.
Stand your ground.
They're only raising the gas.
Stand your ground.
All across the nation.
Stand your ground.
It's only home invasion.
Stand your ground.
Now the light bill raised.
Stand your ground.
And on the guns in the place.
Stand your ground.
So we don't back down.
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 Stand your
This
ground.
current administration, they don't care about the people.
no way.
Everything they do in this country here is to fulfill their ego.
These people raise the gas and they laughing, saying how we ain't riot yet.
It's time for we to stand firm and show them right now we upset.
So stand your ground.
And if you're fed up of the crime,
Stand your ground.
the food price is too high.
Stand your ground.
And every 2 months pass.
Stand your ground.
They're only raising the gas.
Stand your ground.
All
Atlantic
across the
Studios is
nation.
ready.
Stand your ground.
It's only
douglAR is
home
ready.
invasion.
Are you
Now
ready?
the light bill
Ready
raised.
live.
Stand your ground.
And on the guns in the place.
Stand your ground.
So we don't back down.
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 Stand your ground.
Oh yeah, on the road to victory, yeah, on the road to victory, you gotta stand your ground, don't back down.
So we don't back down.
Stand your ground.
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 House of the rising
Oh
sun.
yeah, on the road to victory, yeah,
Come on.
on the road to victory, you gotta stand your ground,
UNC.
don't back
On
down.
the road to victory, standing strong and we ain't backing down. Cause we fed up of the school-less dictator, we're running the island.
Oh
This man
yeah,
come to mash up the country. Now the people have to push back.
Push back.
So it's time for us to stand firm and show them we ain't taking that.
So stand your ground. And if you're fed up of the crime,
Stand your ground.
the food prices too high.
Stand your ground.
And every 2 months pass,
Stand your ground.
the only raising the gas.
Stand your ground.
All across the nation
Stand your ground.
is only home invasion.
Stand your ground.
Proud the light been raised,
Stand your ground.
and only guns in the place.
Stand your ground.
So we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
so we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
so we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
so we don't back down.
Stand your
This
ground.
current administration, they don't care about the people.
No way.
Everything they do in this country here is to fulfill the ego.
These people raise the gas and they laughing, saying how we ain't riot yet.
It's time for we to stand firm and show them right now we upset.
So stand your ground.
And if you're fed up of the crime,
Stand your ground.
the food price is too high.
Stand your ground.
And every 2 months pass,
Stand your ground.
the only raising the gas.
Stand your ground.
All across the nation
Stand your ground.
is only home invasion.
Stand your ground.
Proud the light been raised,
Stand your ground.
and only guns in the place.
Stand your ground.
So we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
so we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
so we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
so we don't back down.
Stand your ground.
Oh yeah, on the road to victory, yeah, on the road to victory, you gotta stand your ground, don't back down.
So we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
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 so we don't back down.
Stand your ground.
House of the rising
Oh
sun.
yeah, on the road to victory, yeah,
Come on!
on the road to victory, you gotta stand your ground,
UNC.
don't back
On
down.
the road to victory, standing strong, and we ain't backing down. Cause we fed up of the school-less dictate, and we're running the island.
Oh
This man
yeah,
come to mash up the country. Now the people have to push back.
Push back.
So it's time for us to stand firm and show them we ain't taking that.
So stand your ground. And if you're fed up of the crime,
Stand your ground.
the food price is too high.
Stand your ground.
And every 2 months pass,
Stand your ground.
the only raising the gas.
Stand your ground.
All across the nation
Stand your ground.
is only home invasion.
Stand your ground.
Proud the light been raised,
Stand your ground.
and only guns in the place.
Stand your ground.
So we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
so we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
so we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
so we don't back down.
Stand your
This
ground.
current administration, they don't care about the people.
no way.
Everything they do in this country here is to fulfill the ego.
These people raise the gas and they laughing, saying how we ain't riot yet.
It's time for we to stand firm and show them right now we upset.
So stand your ground.
And if you're fed up of the crime,
Stand your ground.
the food price is too high.
Stand your ground.
And every 2 months pass,
Stand your ground.
the only raising the gas.
Stand your ground.
All across the nation
Stand your ground.
is only home invasion.
Stand your ground.
Proud the light been raised,
Stand your ground.
and only guns in the place.
Stand your ground.
So we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
so we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
so we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
so we don't back down.
Stand your ground.
Oh yeah, on the road to victory, yeah, on the road to victory, you gotta stand your ground, don't back down.
So we don't back down,
Stand your ground.
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 so we don't back down.
Stand your ground.
House of the rising
Oh
sun.
yeah, on the road to victory, yeah,
Come on!
on the road to victory,
This is douglAR
you
politics.
gotta stand your
douglAR politics.
ground,
Listen.
UNC.
don't back
On
down.
the road to victory, standing strong, and we ain't backing down. Cause we fed up of the school-less dictate, and we're running the island.
Oh
This
yeah.
man
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. The Southland is in a total complete mess. Article, Guaracara Park in a sorry state. Home of Southern Games, dilapidated. Express, Sunday Express. Southern Games is synonymous with sports in the city of San Fernando. For decades, stakeholders have described it as a major event on Trinidad and Tobago's sporting calendar. Synonymous with the games is Guaracara Park in Pointe-a-Pierre. However, the last time Guaracara Park opened its gates to international, regional, and local athletes and cyclists was in 2018. The same year, state oil company Petrotrim, which had oversight for the facility, closed its doors. In 2019, the track and field part went to Manny Ramjohn Stadium. Guaracara Park, totally devastated, dilapidated, unmaintained, nothing going on. Manny Ramjohn collapsing and sinking into the southern Zapate mud. Skinner Park, $131 million spent by Noel Garcia Rowley's favorite man, and turn a football ground that hosted international World Cup qualifiers into a sweat. A huge expenditure on absolutely nothing. A useless Skinner Park. When it rained, it flooded. The stands built in the wrong direction. When it rained, everybody get wet down. The cheap seats, 131 million. A quantity surveyor went down there and said if they spend 18 million, they spend plenty. Taruba Stadium in the South, Brian Lara, hosting about 3 or 4 cricket matches per year at $1.3 billion PNM. Corruption, mismanagement in the Southland, and they say vote for them so that you could pay property tax. Talking about sport, well, Archie had to take off my glasses for this boy. An Olympic gold medal is the dream of every sportsman and sportswoman across the globe. Once you get involved in sport at an age group level and you become a national champion, or you make a national championship final or territorial final and moving on up, you dream of being an Olympic gold medalist. Imagine in Trinidad and Tobago, under the PNM that has thwarted merit at every level. In the cabinet, there is no merit. The Minister of Finance knows nothing about finance. The Attorney General before took too long to pass exam in law school, lost 30 cases. This one don't know the truth if it slap him on his short top of his bald head. Lie more. The Minister of Health could not pass a medical exam, could not pass a pharmacological exam. The Prime Minister is a geologist who don't know nothing except about his stones down on a red couch. The whole cabinet, the Minister of Education has overseen the failure of our children, the collapse of the education system. Gate cut, children just wild, school violence rampant at every single level. And now in sport, there's a Minister of Sport who put God out she weave to argue, attack, denigrate, and disrespect this nation's Olympic gold medalist. 2008, Richard Thompson, Bledman. Those fellas went down in 2008 Beijing after training themselves to torture and pain throughout their careers, to put on the red, white, and black, get up at the biggest stage with the whole world watching with Trinidad and Tobago emblazoned on their chest, ran their hearts out a silver medal behind the greatest athlete on God, green earth, Usain Bolt. But with anything in world sports and anti-doping, the cheaters, there's more money in cheating. So the testing, the good guys, they're always 5, 6, 7 years behind the cheaters. The only reason we found out about Marion Jones and declared somebody didn't get their money. So these gentlemen have been upgraded from silver to gold. And Shamfa Kujo, the PNM, and Rowley treat them with disdain. Do not meet with them, not even a cocktail party, nothing. When I was a Minister of Sport, there was a policy duly created, put down, and presented without any emotion. For every sport, team sport, individual sport, junior sport, elite level, every competition from CAC to Pan Am Games to Commonwealth Games to World Indoor to World Championship Short Course to World Championship to Olympic medals, what you would get. So that there would never be any discussion about who like who don't like who is a PNM, who is a UNC. That's the policy that I put there. And that policy, with regardless of who you are, an Olympic gold medal, $1 million. HDC house of a high order, the more expensive HDC house, a Shakonia gold medal, and something named after yourself, as well as becoming, if you continue in the sport, you get elite funding for another quadrennial, 4 years, $250,000 per year. If you're retiring or you're moving on, you then become a sport ambassador to continue to sell Trinidad and Tobago, give motivational speeches, go across the country when you are here to schools to motivate and encourage others to follow in your footsteps. That's done not because it's payment or repayment for athletes' accomplishments. We cannot pay an Olympic gold medalist for the torture, the pain, the pride, the performance that they give, the benefit, the marketing, the mind share of Trinidad and Tobago being sold to the world. We cannot pay for that. That is what you call priceless. If I was to tell you how much, or try to figure out how much a gold medal is worth in marketing Trinidad and Tobago from the time the athlete gets out there, gets to the Olympics, warms up, gets in the first round, second round, semi-final, final, goes up on the podium, national anthem playing, all the social media, all the live performances, the repeats, the play, the overall, the newspapers across the globe and so on, and for the years, just the greatness. The figure will be somewhere in $40-50 million. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we're trying to pay. We can't pay what it's worth, but we can show a token of our love and our respect and our appreciation for the hard work, the pain, the dedication, the sacrifice that these athletes and others put out on our behalf to portray us in a good light, to show our country the greatness, the brilliance, the skill of our country. So what I said there as a policy is chicken feed compared to what they deserve. But you have a minister who knows nothing about sport, did not even have the discipline to participate at any level, approaching not even Tobago regional level. A minister of sport who has gone in there, did not want to be there, knows nothing about it, does not even have the wherewithal and the understanding, the humility to find out who knows. Some of our advisors are some of the most heartless, selfish idiots in sport. And one idiot telling another idiot what to do produces what we have now. The most embarrassing situation a country could ever have, that a minister of sport is attacking Olympic gold medalists and trying to portray to the population that they're greedy and they want something. What nonsense are you talking about? Hazy Crawford, gold medal 1976. Did I care that he's a PNM? Hazy Crawford is a PNM from back then, was a PNM, still is a PNM now, and will dead a PNM. Did that affect my respect and what he deserved as he continued to be a sport ambassador for Trinidad and Tobago, as well as continuing at NGC and so on to promote the social program, the greatness? I could disagree with Hazy Crawford politics and all of that, even when Bastio Pandey saved his house $500,000 and he's still a PNM, but the PNM would have let him lose his Federation Park house. He's a PNM, so what? He is the greatest, the first Olympic gold medalist. He got up there in 1976 and ran with red, white, and black, and that deserves total, complete respect from then till the day he died and after that. So it matters not that he's a PNM. As Minister of Sport, and give total respect. Darren Ganga, Brian Lara, Dwight York, sports ambassadors. We cannot pay them. We cannot quantify the value to our country, but we ask them, we recognize them, and give them a sports ambassador to ensure that they have something, that they understand we respect them, we appreciate their efforts, and we ask them to give back a little bit, which they do anyway, to the children, the future generations. You have a Minister of Sport of the People's National Movement, Shamfa Kujo, who cannot even understand that of which I am talking. Understand that under the policy, Keshawn Walcott got gold in 2012. He got his $1 million, his HDC house. He got his Toko in a school named after him. He got all of these things, Shakonia gold. Not because anybody liked Keshawn. Not because he's a UNC, just because that's the policy. In that same period, J. Hugh Gordon, who coached Dr. Hippolyte, is a disgusting PNM. He is probably the worst coach I've ever interacted with. He was a chef de mission for 2016 Olympics while doing commentating on floor on TV while the team was crumbling in the games village. He didn't even understand what his job was as a chef de mission. I have zero respect as a coach for Dr. Hippolyte. He talks with jargon and does nothing, knows nothing, and is of no consequence. However, he was the coach of record for J. Hugh Gordon when J. Hugh Gordon won his World Championship 400-meter hurdles gold. Hippolyte is a PNM, just like Brian, whatever his name is. What is the Brian fella name from the Olympic Committee? I forget his name, he's so dotish, right? All of them. But does it matter to this people partnership, UNC Minister of Sport? No, it doesn't, because sport is pure and sport is clean. So when J. Hugh Gordon won on the policy World Championship, gold medal, 750,000, HDC house, national award, your coach gets 250 or 300,000 depending on that. Just like Keshawn Walcott coach, Professor Mastrapa, probably one of the best coaches in the world, that Cuban genius who brought that gold medal. And if you remember, Keshawn Walcott is this Minister of Sport, Brian Lewis, look here Afro. PNM, Port of Spain South, Scotland beat he out. Imagine that. I mean, I don't know if he really beat him out for the seat. I mean, you know, Scotland has beat out. Let me tell you something. Understand that Keshawn Walcott, when I was minister, his manager came to the ministry and complained that Ephraim Seret, the president of the entries and the entries, were not allowing him the javelins to train ahead of the Junior World Championship in 2012. I said, but what nonsense is this? They're locking up the javelin and the boy had to throw some old iron. I asked the permanent secretary that time, what can we do? Come. And we recommended and approved to purchase javelins for Keshawn Walcott to practice. He was very appreciative. He used the javelin, he practiced. He went for Trinidad and Tobago, won gold in the juniors with 78 meters or something like that. And then he went to the Olympics in London 2012 and he threw 84.58 and brought gold for Trinidad and Tobago based on you, the taxpayers, buying him javelin to throw because of people. And you know that Ephraim Seret is the one advising the current Minister of Sport, and he can't tell she, why you attacking Olympic gold medalists like that? Who are you? The only thing changed in sport since you became minister is how she look. She looked one way when she went in from Lekoto, and now you don't know where she is, whether she's Kardashian or Indashian. You can't tell. Everything, it lighter, it come in, it come out, it go good for she. But you come to disrespect. And J. Hugh Gordon, on the advice clearly of his PNM coach Hippolyte, when there was the Spirit of Sport Awards, and awards created by Kamala Minister of Sport, Anil, to respect and reward and honor all aspects of sport, not only the athletes, the coaches, the grassroots, the junior athletes, the individual, the younger ones, the media, the best picture, the best sports journalists. So, PNM cut all that, all they don't even know. There are no Spirit of Sport Awards again. But at that time, I went as the minister to present J. Hugh Gordon with his check based on the policy. And J. Hugh Gordon stood up while I was minister on the awards, and he made his speech with me standing there, and he said, I want to thank the taxpayers of the country because it's your money, give me this. Fair enough. Very rude, obnoxious, no big thing. Well, where the taxpayers' money now, J. Hugh Gordon? Because this minister, if you understand how cabinet works, cabinet, you have ministers fighting for resources. It have a small pizza pie. Well, a big pizza pie. But ministers fighting. Who fighting for gate? Who fighting to build school? Who fighting for local government? Who fighting for education? Who fighting for the culture and the sport? Everybody trying to get resources for policies to push their portfolio forward to serve the people. And this minister went and fought in the cabinet for resources for the athletes. So J. Hugh Gordon, on your speech now, under Shamfa, where the taxpayers' money, since you're thanking the taxpayers, wait. Because the whole budget for sport cut from 140 million down to 10 million. So, Pro League sport cut, Super League cut, all sport. Children have to pay, parents have to have barbecue and curricula to send the children away. They're getting only 2 jerseys and nothing else. Elite funding, 53 athletes were getting 250,000 per year. That down to about 16. What happened now? But that's the sort of disrespect that goes on with the PNM. But did it bother me? No, because in sport it doesn't matter. Hippolyte could be PNM how much you want. But the truth was that the real coach was somebody outside. When J. Hugh went outside for a 6-week period and an 8-week period before winning that gold medal, when he came back to Hippolyte and Hippolyte alone, he ran 2-2 for the rest of his career. He didn't make semi-final, he didn't get nothing, he didn't make anything else. But this minister still, based on the policy, Hippolyte get his money too. So understand that sport don't have no who like who. You're either good or you ain't good. And these fellas, and these Richard Thompson, 4x100, Bledman, all of them from 2008 who have been elevated to gold medal, they deserve what they deserve. They've earned it. They're not begging, they're not asking, they're not beseeching. They're not greedy like what Donna Cox say, people who lining up in South Park more for bread and for hamper. Greedy is not greedy. We could never, ever pay this, pay for this, pay for the effort, pay for the sacrifice. But PNM don't understand that. Because PNM not about people, PNM about the cabinet, PNM about themselves. They don't care if you dead every day. They don't care if you bust tire every day. They don't care if you have no job. They don't care if you have to pay more in your gas because you haven't rioted yet. But in the United National Congress, we love and respect this. Gentlemen, we could never pay you or repay you the value that you have given to Trinidad and Tobago and will continue so to do. And what we can assure you is when Kamala Persad-Bissessar is returned as Prime Minister, this disrespect will stop. And without any discussion, without any argument, because you deserve it, you will get from the people what the people believe and love and think that is a good representation of what you have given to us. So on behalf of the United National Congress, to our Olympic gold medal relay team from 2008, gold medal, thank you, God bless, and we apologize for the idiot that is the Minister of Sport put there by a bigger idiot, Keith Christopher Rowley. And as we say, Keith Christopher Rowley, a Prime Minister of CARICOM on the 50th year of CARICOM, while the West Indies was currently in a tournament playing, he attacks them in the most vile manner, from a prime ministerial pulpit, not even understanding the classlessness of that. He's not an ordinary citizen. He's a leader of the Caribbean, attacking Caribbean sportsmen and saying and accusing them of having no heart, no skill, no passion, nothing. Keith Christopher Rowley, today I saw the word, this is from a prime minister. While a team is trying to represent the region, they didn't go out there to lose. They didn't try to lose. Yes, I am angry. Yes, I find they perform badly. But this is a prime minister openly attacking, criticizing a team that he is one of the leaders who they are representing, and he represents a country from which they are for. And he attacks them while they are still trying to perform. This amateurish, demoralizing embarrassment has to stop, says Keith Christopher Rowley. But let me tell you something, Keith Rowley. Furthermore, you are in no position to criticize anybody or any team, because you are the worst prime minister in the history of the Caribbean. You are the worst prime minister in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. You have taken Trinidad and Tobago to our lowest point in every industry across the board, whether economic, crime, jobs, safety, security, reserves, holding, hope, education, sport, culture. Every single facet of life in Trinidad and Tobago is at its lowest all time under you. So you are in no position to criticize anyone or anything. When he says, this is the worst cricket match ever, 8 years, you are the worst prime minister ever, Keith Christopher Rowley. This amateurish demoralizing embarrassment has to stop, says Keith Christopher Rowley. Well, on August 14th, and when general election is called, this demoralizing, amateurish embarrassment of a government that you lead, the PNM government under you, will stop, because the people are waiting for you, Keith Rowley. Rowley continued criticizing the West Indies. To saunter through a defeat is unacceptable. To saunter through as prime minister, as every aspect of life, the energy sector, crime, the situation, job creation, COVID-19, you sauntered through while your minister of national security slept through the murders, 622 murders last year, heading for another 600 here, home invasions, rape, guns toting, borders open, no air guard, no diesel for Coast Guard park up, radar not working, no roadblock, no army, the waters open season for human trafficking, for drug running, while you sat on a couch with the biggest whoremonger in Trinidad and Tobago. You sauntering through a job while every aspect of life in Trinidad and Tobago has deteriorated. That's why PNM people protesting you as you talk, you imbecile, Keith Rowley. Playing for the West Indies must be a treasured privilege available only to the best. Being the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago should be a treasured privilege reserved for only the best. We ain't know where PNM find the basura, the labas that you are. Me ain't know where they find you to put you as the leader of the PNM, and then with the gerrymandering to make you Prime Minister. And then you select a bag of dance in every aspect. We are not in this mess by mistake. We are in this mess because you, Keith Christopher Rowley, are amateurish. Your leadership is demoralizing this country. Your selection of cabinet is woeful. You have overseen the most corrupt government in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, and our country is reeling and blood is spilling all through the streets because of your total incompetence. Let me take a pause, because from Rowley, we go to some positives in Trinidad and Tobago. I see a company called Trifactor. The Trifactor Effect, a Gasparillo company, turns to solar power for energy solutions. Archie, yes, oh, you are the picture there. This is the sort of creativity, intelligence, and real managerial risk-taking entrepreneurship that Trinidad and Tobago is about. This company, this sort of idea, this is what we are about. Forget the nonsense of the government and the PNM. This is what we need. We need to support people like this, companies that are coming to provide solutions to make life better for Trinidad and Tobago. As countries including Trinidad and Tobago grapple with how to transition to renewable energy sources, one Gasparillo-based firm has taken steps to provide solutions to local and regional clients. Trifactor Technical Sales and Services Limited, a renewable energy equipment provider, caters to the needs of farmers, residents, and industrial clients. For all clients, pressurized solar water heating systems, solar perimeter lights, all-in-one complete solar system packages are offered, while rotating machinery pumps, compressors, pipes, and valves, among other tools for its oil and gas, petrochemical manufacturing, and renewable energy customers. Generating systems, but cost still remains a challenge, seeing as extensive battery shortage requirements are high costing. Let me tell you something. This is the kind of thing that Kamla Prasad Bisesa and her government will be seeking out as we move our country into the fourth industrial revolution and try to really move into renewables. Yes, we will also be focusing on what we can squeeze out of the oil and gas energy sector, while simultaneously moving Trinidad and Tobago into economically efficient renewable resources, finding the intelligent people like this and supporting them, making their business climate, the ease of doing business, the approvals, the access to US, the access to money, access to labor, much better. That is what Kamla Prasad Bisesa is about, and what Rowley is about, a set of race baiting and incompetence, bullying and haranguing human beings. So well done to this firm and to many others. That's what we are about. Trinidad and Tobago, the brightest and the best in the world. When we say that, we also see resolving Caribbean arguments with 10-1. Mark Farrell aims to settle arguments among Caribbean people with one bottle of blended rum at a time. 10-1 brings together contrasting flavors of rum from each of the islands to create a unique blend, while giving each island its much needed recognition, brilliance, intelligence. And then we come to the PNM. You see, leadership is a very important thing. And unfortunately, the yoke around Trinidad and Tobago's neck since 1956 is the PNM. The anti-democratic, oppressive, tyrannical, dictatorial PNM, whose only job is to cheat and steal elections so that they can control the treasury and give it to friends, family, and financiers. Call me but the Minister of Finance. His good buddy is a fellow called Patrick Ferreira. Ferreira, as Wade Mark said in the Senate, had many questions to answer in the insurance industry. And the central bank governor, who happened to be Rowley's friend and is appointed by him, but after they fire Jawala and you, the taxpayer, have to pay back Jawala. Now you see Patrick Ferreira, and you may even have a picture of Patrick Ferreira and him, but look at them from way back. Yeah, two of them in too tight jersey. Me and they're sort of comfortable in that Jeep. Me and know if they was going camping. Me and know if they was going broke back. Me and know what they was doing. But they look very close and loving and partners from long time. Well, this one Imbot over there make this next one the chairman of NIB, National Insurance. Then he make him the chairman of Home Mortgage Bank. And now we make him simultaneously also the chairman of Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Finance Limited. Just like Calder Hart in 2007, 2006 to 2010. Calder Hart was chairman of NIB. Calder Hart was chairman of Home Mortgage Bank. Calder Hart was chairman of Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Finance Company. Well, here goes him, but look at his body. The closet. That's what PNM passes for good governance. I'm not hearing anybody. That's okay, and that's good corporate governance. That prevents corruption. You know, Noel Garcia building everything Noel Garcia, who's been with Rowley, Commissioner of Inquiry into Las Alturas, anything Rowley do, Rowley was Minister of Housing back in 2003, November, when Manning moved him from Integrated Planning and Development after he signed outline approval for Rahal Son and them to increase their money from 10 million to 850 million. Manning moved him. He then put Noel Garcia and Al Rawi and Andre Montai on a board, and they built Greenvale without approvals. They spent over $18 billion, of which $2 billion in projects never came off the ground, overruns. And Rowley said, well, we had to break the law. We had to build without approvals because there was a need. But you all say that the PNM is great, and you suffering. All you can't get money for your athletes, your Olympic gold medalists. You can't get gate, you can't get textbook, you can't get school feeding, you can't get grant, the cutting food card, you can't get fuel subsidy, you can't get nothing. But this boy, him but friend, could get 3 chairmanship, controlling over $4 billion of your money and assets. Him but friend, who he tied jersey with a Jeep since this look like 1970 something. The color and all, the me know when they make that Jeep. How two of them fit in that so comfortable, me know either. And while all of that is going on, look what has happened in San Fernando, the corporation of San Fernando, people who are trying to help the homeless. Look at the PNM neglect, even to those who are helping those most in need. And when it comes time to vote, all you remember them, remember them and vote with a vengeance. Don't talk, vote them out. Run it and watch this. The homeless fella, yes man, you have it. When the homeless fella in charge of the homeless shelter, check what the PNMs do, people who taking care of those most in need. Run it. It come in, man, it come in. All you watch him but any friend. I nearly say boyfriend, find it just fit. I are partners with them.
My name is Asai Jakubali, the chairman for the San Fernando Center for Displaced Persons. We are here at the shelter in San Fernando, which is located on the wharf, and we need to highlight a particular issue that we are encountering at this time. In November of 2022, we experienced a landslide at the back of our premises here. This landslide caused us to lose our storage room and our clothing room, both on opposite ends, and also the wall. The structure has become now open and unsecured, with this wall being collapsed. We have had to hire additional security to stay here during the day in order to safeguard our items in here and the personal belongings of those who stay at the shelter in San Fernando. But over the past couple of months, this landslide has gotten progressively worse. Now we are at the point of losing our second storage room and also losing our kitchen facilities. If we lose these 2 rooms, we will not.
That fella and them people taking care of homeless citizens. Landslide months ago come down the San Fernando PNM Corporation has done nothing. It getting worse. They lose their storeroom to store what? Not to store $1 million car, not to store big fancy thing, fancy furniture and big red couch, to store food items for the homeless and their personal effects when people come to volunteer their time and so on. And that's what PNM does. That's the love and the care. 131 million to turn Skinner Park into a pet mat site. When it rain, it flood. When it rain, you get wet. When you go down there, that's no use. But it cannot even take care, fix a landslide so that people could continue to serve those most in need. That's why when you see August 14th and you're living in San Fernando, anywhere in San Fernando, anytime you see Balize or PNM, vote yellow. Vote for the rising sun. Vote, vote, vote. This is not a joke. You want to see why to vote again? Cataract surgeries halted at San Fernando. Let's read why. Cataract surgeries, especially for our elderly citizens who have served their country well. Why in San Fernando would cataract surgeries have to be halted? Cataract surgeries have been halted at the San Fernando General Hospital in recent weeks due to equipment breakdown, leaving at least 200 patients awaiting their scheduled procedures. This has severely impacted the waiting list of the ophthalmology department, creating a further 2-month delay. If you have 200 patients in San Fernando, those 200 patients have at least 4 or 5 family members. That's 1,000 people. 1,000 people plus the doctors and all that could go up to 3,000 people. All of you who are involved by that supposed to vote out. Anytime you hear PNM, go and dip your finger. Local government, general election, any election, because you know that could have never happened under Kamala Prasad Desessa, under Fuad Khan, under when she come back in and is Lakram Bodo or Dr. Rai Ragbir or Dr. Richie Sitcharan or any one of those doctors, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh. You think that could have ever happened? You think it that bad? Hear this one. Zika children need help. Relatives of children born with complications from Zika and the head of the Diseases Foundation are seeking the President and Prime Minister's intervention in getting help for these children. It comes as the state filed its appeal of High Court ruling that it failed in its duty to provide specialized care for another baby born with Zika, and ordered that it pay significant compensation. If successful in having the High Court ruling set aside, the state wants the family to bear the cost of the appeal and the substantive matter. Now understand what madness I just read there. And this is the Guardian article. And they are saying that the Zika children, that they're calling on the President and the Prime Minister to intervene. My people, it is the Prime Minister who appealed the case. It is the Prime Minister and his government who took the case to court. It is the Prime Minister and his government who did not give the Zika child the adequate care. All you're calling on the devil to stop evil, and then you call on the President. Well, the President is a PNM who believes in the PNM and the gospel of the PNM, and she is a clone of Rowley, and Rowley is her mentor, and she is a PNM. You're calling she supports Rowley, who supports Convent Girl, who is attacking a child with Zika, going to court to fight a child from getting good care and support, and attacking a family who's already suffering from the child having birth defects from Zika. That is PNM. Y'all could really vote for that serious. No, serious. There's a child, a sick child. Rowley and his Lima Attorney General are attacking and fighting a sick child in court to stop the child from getting some sort of redress on the parents from poor service in healthcare run by Rowley. The same government that are attacking Olympic gold medalists. Are you people really serious? Are you all going to stay home and say, oh boy, elections, all of them politicians are the same? Really? Rowley is a special type of Kobo evil. Rowley is a devil with wings. And he selected people around him who are in his likeness. This is not funny. August 14th must see the highest voter turnout in the history of local government elections. Sending a message, as Coleman but say, for general election in December. This cannot continue. They are attacking sick children now. But explains why THA received less money in 2017 to 20, and he dismisses Farley's starved up funds claim. And him, well, Tobago was starved of funds, but Trinidad lost more. Really? That's your argument? That's why Tobago has rid themselves of the PNM. And let me tell you all PNM something. Just because one man with his foot in the wrong hole gone, don't mean that Tobago is weak. Chief Secretary Farley and his group of politicians and people serving Tobago now are stronger than ever. Champa Kujo and Ayana Webster Roy, they're just waiting for the bell to ring to vote all your out a day. So get your last Gucci bag, your last weave, your last bundle, your last stocking, your last belly tie up. Get your last everything, because the people at Tobago waiting for all you too. Central bank blocked. So the central bank has a policy of no active politicians and so on in their contract, right? And one of our candidates for the Arima Borough Corporation, Lyndon DeGans, he is an employee at Central Bank and so on. So at court, they went to get an injunction and so on. Well, let me ask the Central Bank something. If that's your policy, and the policy could make sense, because the Central Bank is supposed to be an independent institution to operate without influence, interference, or instruction from the executive, which is the political arm. Okay? Then how this man reached there? You see, because this fella reached there because Rowley and Imbert fired Jawala Rambaran wrongfully and have to pay him $7.5 million. And then Rowley selected this man, Alvin Hilaire, who is his neighbor in Inez Gate. But Alvin Hilaire, the central bank governor, could not negotiate as good as Rowley, because Alvin Hilaire paid $1.81 million for his exact same condominium in Inez Gate in Tobago, while Rowley paid $1.2 million for his own and $1.2 million for his daughter's own, getting a benefit of approximately $968,000 because he could negotiate. But the point is, if your policy, central bank, is no political interference, no politicians, keep it independent, how do you explain this Alvin Hilaire and his close personal friendship with Keith Rowley, who's the Prime Minister and the head of the executive arm of the government? And how do you explain that when the executive arm of the government, after getting a licking in local government election in 2019, where they lost 15 burgesses and they lost a corporation, bringing it to 7 more, they will lose 2 more right now. When they said that for national security reasons, they're going to instruct that all the $100 cut notes must be changed. That's not the government's call. That's not the government's responsibility. The independent central bank governor is in charge of the monetary policy and the money supply of Trinidad and Tobago. Only this person can do that. But this person, his neighbor and friends with Rowley, took instructions straight and direct from the executive, the prime minister and the cabinet, and followed through on their policy. He even went on and went out in public to defend the government's policy. So the two things, they don't go together, central bank. Because you're saying that law fellas can't go up to be a counselor to serve people because y'all are independent. But the central bank governor is friends and a puppet of the prime minister. Explain that to me. Make it make sense, please. Frost reapplies for top TTRA post. Order of Merit Republic of Trinidad and Tobago recipient Frost, who won the first rounds for the search, independent search from PricewaterhouseCoopers for the head of the so-called Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority that the PNM is trying to put in place and trying to pick their own puppet. But Frost is not a puppet, but Frost is a topper, and he topped the thing. But the PNM is not about merit. You top the thing, but you're independent. We don't want that. We want somebody who we could control. And Erla, we want somebody who we could control. And Kangaloo, we want somebody who we could control. And Patrick Pereira, we want somebody who we could control. But Frost apply again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, pay close attention, you know. Because if Frost win again and PNM reject him again, and the first process costs $119,000, this one going a little longer, it might cost $130,000. Like $249,000, but they say all you can't get food card, all you can't get gas, all you can't get nothing, right? And if they have to go back again, now Imbert had approved, you know, but Rowley, we went in the cabinet and Rowley rejected. So we watching that. Niquan blames Massey for death of worker at plant. PNM now blaming PNM. Come Massey's PNM, Jervis Warner PNM. PNM for PNM blaming PNM. PNM in charge. Remember, Niquan start off with Malcolm Jones. And now there was a picture, actually, I don't know if you have it, with Franklin Khan when they were handing over the Niquan thing, right? And I told you it was PNM to PNM by PNM. There was a lady called Alison Due Diligence Lewis, who was the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance. This lady, when we in government, we have to go to something called F&GP. Anytime they bring a cabinet note, you want to increase funding for TT Pro League, you want to increase it to 8 million a year in order to get the boys going to create the industry, create jobs and opportunity for the young black fellas out there. You have to go by this lady and make sure you dot your I's and cross your T, and she asking you this, and if anything in the note ain't good, you have to go back by the permanent secretary and get it correct. She approving thing. But you know the funny thing? When we in government and the world GTL thing, the thing come around with the loans and thing to pay back, because Malcolm Jones and them went and take all your taxpayer money and went and invest in this world GTL and gas to liquids plant. She advised the government, nah man, that thing ain't good, that bad debt, don't bother to run down that, don't keep putting money behind bad. You know, when Rowley come with email gate and they gerrymander the election in 2015 and give the PNM an extra hour, you know the first thing happened? This woman jump out of the Ministry of Finance and went as the chairman of the Port Authority Board. Alison Due Diligence Lewis. Next thing you know, she end up on the Niquan board, the same board of the same company with assets that she was telling us, don't bother with that, you know, that ain't good. And then all of a sudden, the Niquan get $120 million US loan. Niquan get the assets of the government that was valued at 100 million pounds. They get it for 10 million US. And 25 million in preference shares, which is actually zero now because the shares are worth nothing. Because all Niquan doing is blowing up and killing people. And then blaming Massey now for the injury. But when it was this is PNM to PNM, then there was an independent senator sitting down as an independent senator, bad talking Kamla and whoever. He come out and he on the board of Niquan too. And Gil, Rowley and them friend, PNM, Niquan. Now, Niquan also give contract to Massey, PNM. Now, if all the PNM fighting, PNM investigating PNM by PNM, and the police investigating accident, but not Paria accident by Paria, because PNM Newman George Day and Small Pin was there, but they investigate the 4 divers left in a pipe for 39 hours to death. But they want to investigate this, and now they're fighting up. That's what you vote for. And these people have no shame. The man who replaced she is a fellow called Vishnu Danpal. Earlier on, 2-3 years ago, I heard Dan Paul espousing the policy of the PNM. I said, but what you doing? You're not a minister in the government. You're the permanent secretary. You're just supposed to give us facts and figures. You're supposed to be apolitical. You know when Dan Paul leave there. Dan Paul is now the PNM High Commissioner somewhere, whether England or somewhere. No joke. That's what PNM does. They put their Balize poison throughout different facets of governance, creating a monopoly of wrong thinking, a monopoly of ill-conceived plans and notions designed to only help those few. So this one also, when she went on the Port Authority, she's the one who approved Bridgman's, you know. Now remember, she was a permanent secretary in Ministry of Finance, which means she know the Ministry of Finance rules, she know tender rules, she know procurement better than anybody. She's an expert. But how Bridgman's qualified? Remember, Bridgman's was a company, Mark Bassan, before he ended up by CNC3 when they buy him out and he went quiet to only tell me about football and John Williams, but he tell me about nothing else under Rowley and the PNM. Remember that he tell me about the APT James and the Buku Reef, he tell me about the 2 Cutlass vessels, he tell me about Noel Garcia, he tell me about Fake Oil and Petrotrin, he tell me about NGC and Lostra. He do none of them things because he was working CNC3, Guardian Media Limited, right? Yes. So I've got told when you see me walk past, this woman Bridgman's did not even have the first sheet, which is the asset base, the track record, the company history, the resources to even qualify to bid. But somehow Bridgman's got to bid, and Bridgman's got a charter party agreement under this. Former permanent secretary, Ministry of Finance, who helped write finance rules, who's an expert, move ship PNM tail. Now this is the problem with Trinidad and Tobago. And that's why you must vote them out. Look at the picture here. Niquan says entire plant not shut down, only affected area. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley cuts the ribbon, officially opened the Niquan gas to liquid span. Next to Rowley, well, Franklin Khan, one man dead already. Then you had this Republic Bank man, Harford. Then Allison, due diligence. How, let me ask you something. How Niquan paying back the $120 million US loan? How they got the loan? What was the collateral? How you could go and just get $120 million US loan, so when you didn't operate for 2-3 years, and when you start to operate, you blow up and you burn up, now man dead? That's really amazing. How come all they're not so lucky to get loans so and get chance? Well, but now I hear David Small, the independent senator who went on the PNM Niquan board, he resigned. He leave. Secret. Why you leave, boss man? You don't want to tell me? It's a shh. It's a secret. Like Denise Deming. Shh. She leave the TDC or wherever board it was under tourism. Shh. Don't say nothing. Don't bad talk PNM. Because when wrong is wrong, under the PNM it's right. Small? Movie now. How you look so different? You sure I had the right picture? Anyway, me here. Yes. Yeah, this is the picture there. Look, Paula Gopi school. Paula, I was expecting flood out your pants so short. Rowley Farley using THA to spread propaganda. Really? Here, Keith Rowley. At no time during any of our discussions face to face or otherwise did I ever discuss or request any information from a copy of the audit to which the Chief Secretary frequently speaks. To the best of my knowledge, no person in any of my offices or any officer reporting to me has ever sought to obtain information from the Chief Secretary about his forensic audit. Really, Rowley? You know, we always believe you because you don't lie, eh? The Prime Minister said, the Chief Secretary stating that he is satisfied that the Prime Minister wishes to have this audit to provide technical escape loopholes for his friends is a slander most grave. No, Rowley, Emailgate was a slander most grave. For an hour and 15 minutes after 6 months of knowing you had absolutely nothing, no emails. 29 of the 31 could not even be emails because they didn't have enough characters. That was a slander most grave that brought you into office. No one can slander most grave or more grave than you pathological liar, Keith Rowley. It's yet another instance of the Chief Secretary using the Assembly Chamber to spread propaganda and slander against persons who have no recourse in that chamber. Really, Rowley? But Rowley, here the problem. You say nobody in your office of the Prime Minister asked for the report. But Rowley, you're such a disingenuous liar playing semantics. You're the leader of the People's National Movement. You're the leader of the PNM. As a leader of the PNM, you head the General Council. You're also in charge of the PNM Tobago. You are the overall boss man in the PNM. So let me read something for you. You disgusting liar, Rowley. Minority Leader Kelvin Morris says the highest offices in the land as well as international bodies must be involved in the fight to rid Tobago of Farley Augustine. According to constituted breach of public trust. Okay. We are asking Tobagonians to continue to make the call, to continue to write the President, write the Prime Minister, write international agencies to let them know in Tobago that there's an administration that is illegitimate and we therefore need assistance for us to have an election right now. But Rowley, the minority leader who is a PNM, says the Chief Secretary that neither I or my office, that's Rowley, but Rowley also responded to Augustine's statement last Thursday that he would not provide him nor the minority leader with copies of the preliminary audit report. because the minority leader in Tobago went on record in the Tobago and asked for a copy of the minority report, of the audit report. So Rowley is the minority leader in Tobago PNM. Did he ask for the audit report? Therefore, your statement that no one under your control asked for a copy of the audit report is totally false. And trying to play semantics and trying to define yourself as the Prime Minister without being also simultaneously the leader of the PNM is disingenuous at best. You cannot split yourself in two, even though you are a bipolar pathological liar. So you are the leader of the PNM, and by that you are the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, a PNM Prime Minister, and the minority leader in Tobago is a PNM under your control, and the minority leader has asked publicly inside Tobago, outside Tobago, in the media for the copy of the audit report. So you've been caught again, Keith Christopher Rowley. And if you're wrong, you'll resign. Well, Farley having a press conference this week, Rowley, and I can guarantee you that Farley will show you to be the pathological liar that you are, because we've already caught you with Renaissance, with Greenvale, with Bridgman's, with APT James and Buku Reef. We've caught you lying about Daryl Smith and Daryl Smith's wife. We've caught you all the time lying, Rowley. We've caught you with Emailgate, with Renaissance. We've caught you lying over and over. So we will wait for the Chief Secretary. But Rowley, bring him back, Rowley. Rowley, don't resign, you know. Don't resign. We want you, big bad bully. Call the general election, and you're so bad. Play more race card and see if you could win. The population of Trinidad and Tobago detests you, Rowley. Never before have people hated a human being as they hate you, because you have brought pain on them. You have disrespected them, Rowley. So don't resign, you big bald head dunce. Call the election and you're bad, and people love you, and you're good, and you're the greatest, and West Indies cricket bad, but you good. Call the election now, you're flipping mama pool. Flood chaos. Rivers burst their banks. Residents inundated with water in north and central Trinidad. The worst we have ever seen in years. Chaguanas mayor on flooding in Charleville. Scary moments for motorists on flooding streets. Rains wreak havoc. ODPM, 15 fallen trees, 12 blown off roofs. Close calls as winds take off roof. But here's Sinanan. Here Rohan Rowley Sinanan. We in the rainy season, and we must expect rain. We are in the rainy season, and we must expect rain, said Rohan Sinanan, Minister of Works and Transport. That was what Works Minister Rohan Sinanan replied in Parliament yesterday following a query from UNC MP Rudal Munilal. Sinanan said, based on the question posed on the devastating flooding and destruction and human suffering, I don't know where that came from. We got some flash flooding, and within 1 hour the water receded. Yes, some debris came down, and as of half an hour ago, I was in most of the areas where that happened, and it's already clean. So I don't know where the human suffering and so on is. I just want to remind the MP, we are in the rainy season. And in the rainy season, we must expect rain. He said, the norm brought upon us by climate change, high sea level rise, and the abnormal amount of rainfall that we're getting at this time. Abnormal amount of rainfall. 18 minutes of rain, Diego Martin turned into a cesspit, a flooded pond. 18 minutes. They talk about climate change. What climate change? They did not desilt or dredge the river mouths. They did not fix drains. They did not allocate resources to local government. They starved the country of resources so that Rowley and Noel Garcia could build what they want to build. And now the people are suffering, and they are telling you, expect rain. Yes, we expect rain in the rainy season. But with a government that understands and puts plans in place and implements and spends money correctly, it requires large amounts of rain for sustained periods to bring that sort of devastation. Not 18 minutes, Rohan. You might enjoy a 18 minutes in Palm Zanilla. When you're lining with Rowley, que pasa amigo, todo bien. And Buddhist might come down there too. Then all you could enjoy something for 18 minutes. But 18 minutes, devastating floods. Children could not do their exams. And you saying, no big thing, we must expect rain. Well, boy. Archie, I saw a heartwarming video. Now, I don't know if I want to play it now. You had the video of Rowley and his racist rant. Play that for me. Let me deal with that now. Let me deal with Rowley, the desperate, decadent, disrespectful, dotish human being. If you have it, run it.
At the end of the day, I'm saying it here tonight in St. James. If you all don't believe me, don't doubt me. That is a policy that is simply saying a dog whistle. That they're going to give people of a certain race guns to shoot people of another race because they are saying
Now we're going to play that again. I want each and everyone to understand what this human being that you all made Prime Minister, what he's saying. I want you to listen carefully to what this clown called Keith Christopher Rowley is saying. From the position, remember Special Branch brought him there with blue lights. He's the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Archie, play it again for them. I want them to listen to this man. Run it.
At the end of the day, I'm saying it here tonight in St. James. If you all don't believe me, don't doubt me. That is a policy that is simply saying a dog whistle. That they're going to give people of a certain race guns to shoot people of another race because they are saying
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's start at the beginning. Crime is at its worst ever. There's a scourge of crime, criminal activity. Bandits are running amok across Trinidad and Tobago, brazen, running up in people's houses, daylight, grocery, pharmacy. Innocent businessmen and women are being killed in car parks at Bricks and Trinity Mall, and gunshots throughout Brian Lara Promenade in the Southland, all across Trinidad and Tobago. Every law-abiding citizen of Trinidad and Tobago is living in fear. Keith Rowley just comes to the PNM platform in a wake, in a tiny meeting in St. James, to say that all law-abiding citizens are Indian. Therefore, according to Rowley, there are no African law-abiding citizens. There are no Syrian law-abiding citizens, Chinese, douglAR, mix-up, Portuguese, Trinidad white, none of them. That the only law-abiding citizens are Indian. And that when Kamala Prasad Bisesa, Prime Minister, who has espoused nationalism and has her policies, her track record, her cabinet notes have shown that every single citizen, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, class, gender, everybody gets assistance as she serves the people. She says that law-abiding citizens, especially with home invasions, must be given the opportunity to defend themselves and their families in their home, stand their ground, defend the castle doctrine. Keith Rowley says that Kamala Prasad Bisesa wants to give a certain race gun to kill our next race. I want to ask Keith Rowley what statistics, what data he has to come to the conclusion. What is he trying to say? That all bandits, all criminals, all murderers, all rapists are black people? Is that what you're saying, you disgusting pathological liar? Because for his stupid, immature, disrespectful, dangerous statement to have any sort of meaning, which it does not, it will have to mean that he has data showing that all criminals is black and all law-abiding citizens is Indian, and therefore the UNC, which is a national party made up of every creed, race, religion, color, man, woman and child, wants to give Indian gun to kill African, even though the army, the police, all of the Coast Guard is 85% African. So exactly what is he saying? Exactly on what basis is he making this statement? And why is he making this statement? And how come the media and the editorials and the columnists and the position have not taken him to task for his divisive, bordering on seditious statement made on a public platform from the pulpit of being the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, a multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious society? Have you heard anything more desperate? This is a man who's in charge. This is the Prime Minister for 8 years. He in charge of central government and local government. And he can't say nothing what you do to help your lives. He is coming to dig deep into the emotive, disgusting, nasty race card. And he thinks that will benefit him. But the problem for him is that the entire country has realized who he is. It has taken some time and a lot of work, a lot of information going out. But the entire country knows that Keith Christopher Rowley is a pathological liar who elevated himself to the office of Prime Minister through lies, through cheating, through attacks, through obia, through malicious disregard for the country and for citizens as a whole. He is vindictive, he is malicious, he is wicked, and he is dishonest. The country knows that. Even PNM people know that. Because actually, he talking, and the protesters in St. James protesting and he trying to say, oh wait, you want to go to the rescuers? Yes, because it fits in nice. Let me just say to Keith Christopher Rowley, your attempts to divide this country by race would fail. Not only because the douglAR, whose father is a black African Tobagonian and mother is a pure Indian sari wearing every day. This douglAR who don't know nothing about race, who only know who makes sense and who dotish. The whole country is of that. Our whole country lives and loves and lives together. We don't have that problem. So you could dig and dig desperately deep in your back pocket to try and get some people who not thinking to say, hey, let's dislike Indian and African and no. Every time this country moved forward from 1922, it was the African National Congress and the East Indian National Association that came together to give us 12 legislative council seats. When the African and the Indian come together, we got independence. When the African and Indian come together, we got rid of the PNM in 1986. It happened again in 2010. It happened in 1995. And it will continue to happen. But when you start to inject race, Keith Rowley, because you are the most inept, heartless, oppressive, tyrannical dictator in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, the people will show you how we live. And when a little child of an African mama went missing because of the floods in 18 minutes rain, because Rohan said, well, you must expect rain. We in the rainy season. Yeah, but we must not expect flood from 18 minutes rain. East Indian search and rescue. Most of them, I watched the video, Nearly all of them, if not all, was East Indian. Left their families without a thought at home. Went out in the rain and the darkness, put their lives at risk to go miles in uncharted water, river, ravine, forest. All kind of snake, caiman, all kind of thing, looking for this little child. Did anyone see race? No, they saw a baby, a mother in pain, and they went to look for a baby. But just because of you, Keith Rowley, I looked at the video and I saw an African mama so elated, so effusive with her joy and her gratitude to the East Indian hunters and rescuers who risked their life to bring her precious princess home. I show this to you, Keith Rowley, you nasty miscreant, you nasty pathological idiot. Look at Trinidad and Tobago, and that's why we all reject your racist rant. Run it.
Save my child. Save my child. Thanks to you and the team. Let's stay out, let's stay out. Thanks. I don't know how grateful I am.
She have no marks and cuts on her. Yeah. Just like that. And I will be hurting. She can stop to see you.
Look, Crystal. Look. Auntie Crystal can see again. See?
Tell you what this is.
Holy people pray for him, what a fine sheep.
I told you I was going to get your daughter free. Alright? I told you we would work non-stop throughout the night into this morning to find your daughter. Right?
Yes, sir. Child, look, Jen. The finest sister. We had a fight, Jen. I don't know.
Rowley, see any race? Is that a consideration? In Trinidad and Tobago, we do not live so. All you saw there was love, care, sacrifice, human beings taking care of human beings. And that's why you must go, Rowley. Wherever you want to go, whatever flaw in your brought up, see, has produced such an evil, heartless human being, you must go. And the people, that represents the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Nothing about race. Nobody even cared. Nobody even thought about it. I watch it because of what I see as a prime minister, nasty man in St. James. Dangerous. And to you express, Guardian, Newsday, TV6, CNC3, and all your 12 PNM radio stations, all your sick, to all you columnists, to all you Bishnu Raghunath, all of you political scientists, all of you who allow Rowley to do that and go unscathed without letting him know that that's not on. You all are dangerous to the tapestry that is Trinidad and Tobago, but the people will hold it together. That mother thanking, she didn't say, thank you, Mr. Indian man, thank you, Indian lady, thank you, Indian for going. She just said, these people, I love you. Where you found her? She cannot, her heart beating, she can't stop hugging that child because Trinbagonians love one another. There's no race. And August 14th and anytime general election call, you all have to understand, you have to remove a leader who is warped. Something he mother, father, whoever brought him up, somewhere along the line, he lost his moorings. He is divisive, dangerous, and disgusting. That is why people protest him, Archie. You have it?
That is the kind of record that you want. That is the kind of record that you have to look for when you're searching for somebody to that is what they encourage. We are having our political meeting. We don't go into anybody's political meeting and behave like that. But that is what they want to bring into this country. And I'm asking you to reject it. In 68 years of the PNM, we try to be stronger, we try to be better, we try to be more decent. And when people are coming to tell you, you heard tonight from the Minister of Finance that we in this government.
Number one, you see how he's so stupid. He's so dotish. He can't even focus on his speech. Protested, people shouting you down, talk your talk. Imagine if he was in the Senate or in the Parliament and a speaker or the president of the Senate was interrupting him 21 times in 30 minutes. He will cry. He's such a little mama pool. He cannot even handle it. Furthermore, in St. James, he bought a UNC. In St. James, there are about 2 UNC. Right? One is 79 and one is 82. That is PNM people protesting you, Rowley. Don't learn about no UNC. That no UNC care about your little stupid small meeting. UNC people on the ground studying to tell people about what we will do to make their lives better, to ensure that politics are a serious thing. Rowley can't handle that. And then this one, the $500,000 dance, bringing water for him like she trying to go on the red couch. She's the next one. She trying to book she place. Well, boy, Keith Scotland. My brother, I tell you, go away. You went New York, you get an award. Guyana give you an award. Keith Scotland, I tell you, you have to go away because you're too black for PNM to give you anything. They didn't tell you that you could apply for silk. They ain't making no minister. You is just a black bencher, Keith Scotland. On top of that, Keith Scotland, in your own constituency of St. James that fall under Potterswin South, they run you off the stage and let the $500,000, $500,000 dance come to introduce the pathological liar. Keith Scotland, you had no shame, boy. Run it through them.
Trinidad and Tobago do not take that for granted. The Honorable Prime Minister is here.
St. James, would you please stand and welcome the captain of Team PNM?
Keith Scotland, I shame for you. I shame for you. A woman who take a scholarship, $500,000, could not pass the law exam, push you over podium in your constituency to introduce the red coach, man. They had a pass 3 dog, a parrot open it and lay down on the red coach to introduce a pathological, oppressive, tyrannical liar in a small meeting, Keith Scotland. Keith Scotland, you're too black to even do that. Oh God, Ketos. Well, as we talk that, let me tell you something. The PNM Rowley boss, oh, he get great UNC people to come across to the PNM. We tell all about people hungry belly, the hungry belly. But you know some of them go on PNM and actually they don't even know what party they represented. Imagine a man who just in San Fernando say, PNM is the problem, UNC is the answer, PNM is the worst, San Fernando is a mess, San Fernando is garbage, the place nasty, not working, pothole, the grounds are cut. And then the next week, he jump over in the PNM. Well, actually, he went on nomination day, but like he didn't know which party he went to sign up for. Come in, Gadari. Come in, Gadari.
The community has been positive.
Supportive. People have said, in the district, their woods, UNC never did anything for us. It's you, Marcus. So it doesn't matter which party it is. We know that the People's Partnership is in a better place because you are there as their representative.
So,
People's National Movement. My apologies.
God. Oh God, but they done there. It done there. The next one, Sunday Express. A man get a $550,000 check to join the but no, I have to stop laughing. I have to stop laughing. You know why? Because in this article, actually leave up the article, right? I have to stop laughing. Anil, behave yourself. Because in this article, on page 3 of the Sunday Express, the gentleman Sudal, he admitted that he had one bank account, right? Asked how many bank accounts he had, Sudal said one. On Friday, Sudal sent the Sunday Express a photograph of his bank account dated June 30th, 2023, which reflected a balance of $7.18. So Archie, you understand? The man in the bank account, the one bank account he have, could buy one doubles and half a solo. So leave the boy, okay? Different people have different circumstances, so I have to behave. But let me just tell all you, if you want to go for this, go ahead. But to the man, to the fella, the Leonard's Hardware, you have a problem, eh? Because me, I know how bright he is. But you talk plenty. Leonard, I pulled the money back. Leave that check there. On Thursday, the Sunday Express also contacted businessman Ian Leonard via telephone, and he immediately confirmed that he had issued a check to Sudal. I am just trying to get back that check from him now, because when I issued the check, I pulled back out the money. Asked if he had given Sudal the check in hand, Leonard said he did. Now Sudal said he didn't get no check first, eh? But he gone in the right place. Liars belong in the PNM. But Leonard, let me read more of what you say, Leonard. Asked if he had given Sudal the check in hand, Leonard said he did. Questioned why he would pay Sudal such a hefty sum and whether he was an expert in a field and was doing some work for him. Leonard explained that he has been in the construction business and the government owes him money. He said Sudal had given him the assurance that he could help him, Leonard, get monies that were owed to him, and so he made the check to Sudal. Mr. Leonard, I think you better get a lawyer, because what you said there in the Express was that you basically bribed a public official to assist you in getting a benefit from the government of Trinidad and Tobago. You see? And you say it so openly and so normally, you have to be a PNM. So I would recommend, sir, based on your statement here, that you contact the nearest lawyer, because police will be coming knocking on your door and you need representation. You are admitting that you paid a public official, a government official, somebody in the PNM here shaking hands with the Prime Minister, who is friendly with a minister of what Kazim is now? Minister of what? Agriculture. $550,000. For what purpose? Where did he get it? Was Sudal a counselor? These are some very serious things, but you admit you pay a man $550,000 to wish you all the best, whoever you are, Mr. Leonard. But based on what you are saying here, if this Express quoted you properly, I advise you to contact a lawyer, and it better be a UNC lawyer, because them PNM lawyer dons. So you better get that some of that money there and go and find Anand Ramlogan, Gerald Ramdeen, Jayanti Latridiyal, find somebody who good, eh? He said, Leonard said, right? He, however, felt that Sudial was shady, and he took a decision to stop the payment and block the check. He said he has been owed money from the government for work done for a long time, adding that the check has absolutely nothing to do with any political party and was not form of an inducement. He said he has been in business for many years and is an honest man who was simply trying to get monies owed to him. You got to tell the police that. But let me also say, is there a video there, Archie, of Keith Rowley boasting about the few people from the UNC who came across? Gedari the Judas, who don't even know his People's National Movement, he say people partnership is the best. This one who have a check here, say he get no check, but it really check, and the man admit he give him the check in his hand to get him, to help him get money that he was owed. You have a video of Rowley saying something about UNC people coming across? Run it. Yeah, man. Once it come in, bring it, man. Bring it. Sudial by Bafi asked Sudial $7.18. All right. You understand? Obika, how you going by? Obika, what happening? Obika, man. Obika say great as it being. Oh Lord, you find it or you find it? Run it, man, run it, man.
Those who had decency have left the UNC and they put the bucket down in the PNM.
Right foot, balize. Left foot, balize. Everybody just do the balize.
Welcome to the PNM.
Welcome to the PNM, yes. Go. That is where you fit. That's so perfect, Rowley. Keep all of them. And if all you somehow you have air condition to give Balize house, hey, Archie, Balize house like it slow down, boy. All your contractors getting frightened. Yes, because you see, if you receive contracts from the government and then you give donations to the government or to the party that is in government, that is called kickback. That is called corruption. That is illegal. So you see, when the government change and normal people ask questions about donations by Kusal, Earth Movers, Junior Sammy, Calco, and Balize House, you have to produce bills, you have to produce what, and when they also ask you about what contracts you got from the government, that's not going to be very nice. You see? Nothing wrong if you want to donate, but if you are a recipient of government largesse and you're donating to the government, you see, the law jumps in right there. As we're talking about the law, Rhoda Barrett, you want to apologize? Oh gosh. I apologize to Gary Griffith for my previous statements published on Facebook or any other social media platform which stated and or may have suggested that he was physically abusive to his wife or any other woman in a familial or domestic capacity. Rhoda, you see, when you lie on people, when you're a nasty woman, when you don't vet, you are forced to do that. You ever see the douglAR have to bow down and do something so? You know how that hurt you to type out that to Gary, who you hate with a passion? You see, me, I hate Rowley. Rowley is a terrible human being. He's not a good man. He's a worthless teacher. He uses power as a teacher to get pum-pum from a girl of school age. He takes advantage of subordinates' wives. Anybody come to walk by him, he go take the girl. He have no sort of testicular fortitude, no character, no decorum. I detest Keith Rowley as a man, as a human being, as a politician, wherever he is. Rowley is the lowest excrement coming out of Kobo bottom after eating a rotten rat. That is Rowley. But not one moment, my lady, will I ever lie on Rowley to have to do this. Poor you, that must have hurt you so bad. Now still, how did you get that job at NLCB again? What's the job? When was it created? Did it go to PMCD? Was it advertised? Who were the other people who applied? How did you score on the interview panel? Who was the interviewing panel? How long, many years have they renewed it for? How many hours do you go to NLCB? How much job, how many crises have you overseen at NLCB? How many hours you put in for that job? How much are you paid? What are the perks? Tell your boy that now asking you a long time. But I know this one hurt you. Boy. You have to apologize to Gary. And you hate Gary so bad. Let me read it again. I apologize to Gary Griffith for my previous, this is Rhoda Barrett, you know, for my previous statements published on Facebook or any other social media. I'm sorry, Gary. You must not lie, girl. Okay? You must tell the truth. Like when I tell you that most of them girl, like Daryl Smith's wife, when Daryl Smith was in the cabinet under his prime minister, the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, and his wife went down to help him in Diego Martin West, that she walked down the steps by Rowley house, walked past 3 dogs, walked past a parrot, went down some more steps, opened the dungeon office, and lay down on the red couch there waiting for the nasty man Keith Rowley. You see? I wouldn't have to apologize because it's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So Rhoda, poor you, that one hurt you more. Well, that one hurt you more than if you had to pay back all your money from NLCB. Leave she. Overhaul of legal unit in AG's office would avoid any occurrence of missing file. A report coming from Stanley John about the missing file which wasn't missing. And here what Stanley John for 800,000 of your money come to say. We have to overhaul the AG's office. Retired Justice Stanley John has called for a complete restructuring of the Civil Law Department of the Ministry of the Attorney General. After a 5-month probe, the overhaul, John said, would avoid any recurrence of missing files. Any recurrence? So was the file missing, Stanley John? Was it actually missing? Because recurrence means that it was missing. Did you come to that conclusion? Or did Armour lie, Stanley John? You are embarrassing yourself daily. The other day by the barber, you drive past, a good thing you didn't stop. You understand? Don't stop when you see Anil. Drive straight past. You are a total disgrace. He continued in a 60-page detailed report that he handed over to the Attorney General, Reginald Armour. So you paid by Armour to investigate Armour and hand the report to Armour, and you find that's good. That follows the laws of natural justice, propriety, and righteousness. Not so, Stanley John, former judge. Brilliant, eh? In the next couple of months, John said, he hopes the public would have trust and faith in the office of the Attorney General. Really? That is your work? That we must have trust and faith in the PNM Attorney General Limo, who sign and perjure himself in a foreign jurisdiction, who lie and say a file missing, pay you 800,000 to tell us to reorganize something so, but the file would not recur, it wouldn't missing. That we must have confidence in that. Stanley John, go and scratch now. The aim and objective of the report is to have confidence in the office of the Attorney General. We will have confidence in the office of the Attorney General when the PNM is gone, when the PNM is voted out, when the PNM is no more. Then we will restore respectability to the office of the Attorney General. Judge steps down in TTRA case. Gilbert Peterson, I didn't tell them that. I tried to warn all, you know, Mrs. Gilbert Peterson. Actually, you have a picture there. Watch Gilbert. Watch Gilbert Lyman with Rowley. That's the wife, yes. Oh, yes. You see, Madam Justice, you had to put yourself through this entire embarrassment because your husband is Rowley's friend, and Rowley is a pathological liar, and birds of a feather flock together. Look at that. Look how you embarrass yourself. Nobody know you. Nobody studying you. But you're so going to push up yourself in PNM poison that you embarrass yourself, mash up your whole legacy, and now you will forever be known as the woman who didn't understand apparent bias. Good luck to you. At least Balize, you should be happy about Balize. Next one. Justice Wilson recuses herself, forcing other judges to step down. third appeal panel to hear EMBD case. The whole case collapsed. But what I like to hear, let me read from this. Now this case collapsed because this Justice Maria Wilson didn't know she brother was on the board. That Wilson? Nah, that look like the same one. Don't put back that look like Peterson. Why me know? Right? Picture not important. But Maria Wilson, she didn't know she brother was a PNM on the board of the EMBD who brought the case originally 4.5 years ago in front of. I can't make this up, you know. She only realized she run it, Archie. I done it on a doubles and coffee. Run it. Remind the people. Doubles and coffee. When you think you reach with the PNM, you really ain't reach. Remember yesterday I telling you that Keith Christopher Rowley on June 12th made the most asinine statement in the history of a press conference where he alluded to the country that he had advanced knowledge about a judgment yet to be given by the Court of Appeal that stated, and he stated, that Rudal Munilal will be forced and instructed to put a defense in the matter of the EMBD and so on, a highly politically charged case brought by him, the PNM and the PNM board of the EMBD to hound down UNC, and that was the mantra of their election campaigns and their governance for the last 8 years, that the UNC is corrupt, EMBD, and every time they have an election, they call out EMBD, and Mark Bassan, and TV6, and CNC3, EMBD, and the PNM file a case. And this case has been going on for about 5 years. Rowley on June 12th made a statement alluding and giving innuendo and stating that Munilal will have to put a defense, even though there was no judgment yet. The judgment was due in a few weeks. Munilal, 7 days later in St. Joseph on a UNC platform, asked, but how the hell Rowley could know this? This is the judiciary, this is secret, this is critical to democracy, separation of powers. How could a prime minister possibly have advanced knowledge about a judgment yet to be delivered? Very fair questions by Munilal. Just so the Court of Appeal jumped to court, checked Munilal video, and the Express said that Munilal and Rowley are irresponsible and so on. They didn't say nothing since June. So now, Daily Express, Friday 30th June. A new panel of appeal court judges will have to hear a challenge brought by 5 contracting companies in a multi-million-dollar cartel involving the Estate Management and Business Development Company. Justice Maria Wilson, who was part of the second panel of judges yesterday, took a final decision to recuse herself. And now the entire panel and the whole thing collapsed. It had to start over. But what is worrying to me, okay, is the statements made by some of the judges. So understand the facts. Rowley came out and made a statement on June 12th that he knows what is the judgment of appeal, that he know that Munilal will have to put a defense and so on. Rowley made that categorical statement. A whole week passed, media, nobody said anything. No judges who are seeing or hearing the case call Rowley or call Rowley to book, or the AG or so on, said nothing. Munilal gets up in St. Joseph at Arangwes North Secondary and asks questions, but how Rowley know that? After Munilal asked these questions, a judge who sat down in the matter for 4 years say, hey, Ukush, that my brother bring the case. My brother was on the board that bring the case that we sit down on for 4 years, and now realize that Saturday become my brother, now call me. Understand what I'm telling you, you know? And the whole case collapsed. Everything had to start over. But hear what the judges, some of the judges are saying, and I'm telling you all judges, you are fast and out of place. Prior to Justice Wilson yesterday making her final decision to recuse, the justices described the statements made by Dr. Munilal as nothing short of vulgar. Oh, really? So what if Munilal's statement, which he did not make a statement, he asked questions about how Rowley know about a judgment that had not been given yet? So Rowley's statement was what? What's above vulgar? Give me some adjectives. Worse than vulgar? You see the problem, judges? That's why I could not be an attorney, because I couldn't tell people like all you, yes, my lord, when my lord talking nonsense, talking through the wrong hole. I couldn't say yes, my lord. I said, fire burn you, my lord, you're talking stupidness. That's why I is not a lawyer. You understand? We have a degree of confidence that right-minded persons would know the panel acted properly. Well, judges, if the panel acted properly, as you say, how come the case collapsed? How come it had to start over? How come one of the panel had to recuse themselves? How come you all knew nothing? How come you all didn't realize that the board, obviously in the case, the board members' names will be there at some point in time, and you all didn't realize, the judge didn't realize, nobody realized. And if you all were operating under false information, not knowing that one of the panel was conflicted, then how could the panel have operated properly? Catch yourself. Where you feel is stupidity? The panel was poisoned from the time that woman took the case, and it's her brother on the board. So everything the panel did, every decision, every time you sat, you were sitting inappropriately, you were acting wrongfully. That's why you have to start over. That's why you have to cancel it. You ain't cancel it because you acted properly. But we look like bobolis here. After Rowley made a statement, attorneys for the contractors had written to the court to complain. A simple phone call would have sufficed, says Justice Barrow. Really? That's how courts work now? Make a phone call? Or you write your submissions? I understand that. First time I heard that. Justice Barrow also said that prosecuting Munilal for the offense of scandalizing the court was inappropriate in the circumstances. Hey, slow your roll, Barrow. If anybody scandalized the court, it was June 12th, Keith Christopher Rowley, Prime Minister of the country. How could Munilal scandalize when he's asking about statements made by Rowley 7 days before? And when Munilal asked the question, the whole case collapsed. So what is scandalizing? What is prosecution? What are you talking about? But at least you come to the correct conclusion that you cannot charge him. Not only is it not appropriate, it's wrong. If you have to charge anybody for scandalizing the court, it's Keith Rowley. All y'all are disgusting human beings. Y'all are dishonest. Justice Barrow also said the prosecuting Munilal for the offense of scandalizing the court was inappropriate in the circumstances. He suggested that such a prosecution would affect citizens' free speech rights and would affect public trust and confidence in the judiciary. No, what affected public trust and confidence in the judiciary, one, is Rowley's statements that he knew about a judgment which was yet to be given. What affected public trust and confidence in the judiciary is that a woman didn't know she brother is a flipping PNM on a board bringing a political case against a political opponent. That would scandalize the court. You know what brings the court into disrepute? That the court, the whole panel had to collapse and start over. Y'all just feel just because y'all are judges that y'all could just come and talk any stupidness in people's ears. Look, fire burn all and give me a damn chance, eh? As a judiciary, we must be open to public criticism. We must suffer silently while puerile comments are made by the misguided. Puerile comments? You have a judge sit down there, know she brother was on the EMBD board, and you criticizing other people, criticizing who? Munilal, me, puerile. It is puerile for you to talk this nonsense. The man who scandalized the court and the lady who scandalized the court was on the panel with you. And if you want to believe her nonsense, but she ain't know she brother is on a PNM board for 4.5 years. When she brother had to call she on the Saturday after Munilal talk on the Monday to tell she, hey girl, that case I bring there, I mean, you know. If you believe all of that, well, bless you. But catch your fallen self. Don't attack the citizens and call us puerile when all you sit down there like a bunch of mama pools sitting down pretending you're adjudicated in a case with a PNM sitting on a PNM brother right there. Shame on you. The minister bundles talk about Trinity students and so on with their hair. I've already dealt with that. But let me just put something new to the population. There was a case in 1995, Escalante versus one of the banks, okay, where he was a bank worker and he had had a ponytail for a few years, and then the bank instituted some new rule and then they suspended him and so on. He went to the industrial court, and you could put up the images of the court judgment if you have it, Archie. But he went to court and the judges ruled in his favor, basically stating that he had to be reinstated, paid damages and costs, because the rule had been changed, that you had accepted his ponytail for a number of years and that you could not then change your dress code and lead to suspension and punishment of the worker. The absence of pay pending the determination of this matter, the bank gave an undertaking that regardless of the outcome, the worker would not suffer any loss of remuneration for this period or for the 2-week period from 6 March 1995 during which he had been suspended. However, in light of our adjudication hearing and for the avoidance of all doubt, we order that his suspension be rescinded and that he should suffer no loss of remuneration or benefits or seniority. Go to another one, right? They have about 4. He only put that one? All right, whatever. But I have it. But the point is that the law of the land, because the law is the parliament, legislature, plus case law. The law is that if you allow something, you cannot midstream change your rules and punish and deny that person the opportunity to move forward in whatever endeavor by your new change in rule. If you have the video of the principal making a speech about the issue during the graduation, please play it.
Here, we as a school took a position. The position is as far back as last year when we returned. And I kid you not, how disheartening it has been to journey in terms of expectations of a Judicial College student. Where students will say, my parents said I'm leaving just now, why do I need to address my hair? Is that what we are sending the message?
You hear what she said? As of 1 year, they made this policy and so on. The boys are in Form 5 or Form 6, which meant that they were in the school for at least 4 years to 5 years before. And therefore, based on the judgment of the industrial court, they had been allowed and it had been accepted, their neat hairstyle. Far less for all the other things that is ridiculous, archaic, racist, dumb, adultish, nonsensical, anti-African, all of that. But the law of the land says that once you have been allowed so to do, you cannot be denied your job or your opportunity based on a change of policy. The principal said it's been a year. They are in the school 5 years. Therefore, the principal and Trinity breach the law. So stop the talk. Daily Express, Trinity, we passed that stage. Guardian, some rules no longer apply. I agree with all of that. Education Minister bundles. Every day is a different bundle. But it's time to talk about here. But let me talk about Weave now. And who is this in your picture? Ladies and gentlemen, do you know who these two people are? This one is Niquan Gadsby Dolly, the Minister of Education, the Deputy Essential of the PNM. You know who that lady is there hugging up her best friend from St. Augustine girls? Friendly, partners, panderos, sistering. That is Narcissus Scope, Fern Narcissus Scope, who's the head of the EBC. And you all find that's fair. She is the arbiter, she's the referee in elections. And her best buddy and best friend is Gadsby Dolly of the PNM. You all find that's right? Is that fair? Is that impartial? Is there apparent bias? Is that a conflict of interest? You see? But now it's alright, it's BNM, man. That's okay. Let them hug up, let them love up, let them call each other, let them, yeah. Because I'm sure if there's a dispute or anything that's going on toward, she will be fair with the UNC. Yes. Because she don't really love her best friend from St. Augustine girls. Really and truly. On top of that, if you all are happy with that, I see that Urvashi Tiwari Rupnarayan has been removed from TV6. Why is that TV6? Huh? For the past 6 months, and she put it up and so on, highlighting that. It's been an honor and so on. She's very sad. She's been removed. So TV6, fire Urvashi. Archie, go back to a video that Urvashi, you know, she was emotional, like all of us in the country, because a young man, St. Mary's College student, had been used as a shield by cowardly, sickening bandits, and he lost his life. Play the video.
I am a little bit upset this morning. I was reading about the death of this 19-year-old Terrell Webster Thomas. We're going to share a picture of him shortly. I came across it on the St. Mary's College website, and I was interested in finding out, how did this young man die? He was 19, a student of St. Mary's, enlisted in UCT studying, I believe, electrical engineering. According to the story, he was on his way home. He met his mom at the taxi stand somewhere in the vicinity of St. James. He met his mom there. She had just done grocery shopping and so on. They stopped a taxi. The taxi had one spot, like, you know, boys normally do, like my son would do. He said, Mom, you know, you go ahead, you go up the road. I will wait and get another taxi and I'll meet you home. She went home. He didn't return. Apparently, he got fed up of waiting for a taxi, walked across to a shop to buy a bottle of water. Gunmen in pursuit of, well, what we call in Trinidad and Tobago, another pest, started shooting. Now, Terrell apparently had on his headphones, was on his phone, minding his own business, as you know, these young men usually do. And this quote-unquote pest held him and used him as a shield. He was shot to death. So, as much as we would like to say welcome and good morning, there's one family in Trinidad and Tobago that is mourning this morning the death of this 19-year-old on his way home. Now, we have to understand in this country, not everybody has a car and a security detail to take you home, right? Some people have to travel. Poor people like us, we have to wait on a taxi stand and travel. Who do we blame when something like this happens? First of all, it tests your power. You all could kill people, but then when the gunmen come after you using a 19-year-old as a shield. I am really annoyed at this. It shows the level of crime in our country. We have to have like a proper third world country. We have to wait for the BBC to come and tell us what to do with crime. Yet still in that entire conference, and I have to tell you all as well, you know, we can't get the ministers to respond. When I reach out to them, at least, I may not get a response. I didn't even see those blue ticks to indicate that they see my message. No response. But when the BBC comes, you're quick to go and talk to them. Nobody in that conference said that education and sport is an answer to crime. Now, data show that a youth who is involved in sport is less likely to end up in a life of crime. Yet, while doing an assignment, walk from Matlot to Togo, probably more than the councillors and MPs, whole assembly randy, and you know what you would see? Those community centers, those sporting fields in a state of disarray. Who do we blame for that? Who do we blame for that? We have these ministers, they're coming into office. If I was a minister of national security, quite frankly, I would be ashamed to draw my salary knowing the demise of this 19-year-old. In a sense, he is one of the few who was pursuing academics, trying to make something out of himself.
Fair comment. Fair comment. Pained, emotional, fair comment. Nothing she said there is untoward. As a government, as leaders, as politicians, people who offer yourself to serve, you have to accept responsibility. The number one responsibility of a government is the safety and security of the country. And when Urvashi talked that fair comment, look at this bully, this nasty bully, this bald head, horny goatweed, softwood bully. A journalist writes to condemn the minister and politicize a recent tragedy and so on. I just move him. I can't take it. Right? And this bully now uses his bully pulpit because of the cowards at TV6 and because of the mass media bias and PNM. Everything is PNM. They fire the girl. So that big bully, that mama pool, that horny goatweed, red couch lying down, soft, nasty clown, so nasty, he going to bully a mother who's admitting and telling you that she had to travel and her son had to travel. He take food out of lady mouth. That nastiness all you call Keith Rowley. When it come time, all you will vote. Don't vote. Because me ain't no supporter, no media person. But that is nasty. That is disgusting. Bullying and taking advantage of a woman, a journalist like that, using your bully pulpit. Hey, Rowley, okay, celebrate. Go and drink a scotch. You see what do she? You see? She bad talk we. She spoke the truth. And the entire country knows that sleepy sativa body bag Heinz is a waste of time. That all he could do is ride horse with a little boy and jam up on him, whining on him on a horse. And you, Keith Rowley, you're the worst prime minister in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Go more meeting. Your PNM people, supporters, the country will continue to protest you, boo you. You better walk with more, because that is what is happening across Trinidad and Tobago. Come August 14, call the general election also, because the people waiting for you. And while you're firing people, why you don't fire the Mexican ambassador too? Because look what happened to he get in a car accident, and this country gone so wild because of poor leadership, because of Rowley that bullies and treats everyone with disrespect and disdain. This man get in a car accident and a man gone in a trunk and threatening to kill the Mexican ambassador, embarrassing Trinidad and Tobago. We have lost discipline across the board because Rowley is indisciplined. Rowley is a bully. Rowley treats the office of Prime Minister with disdain, disrespect. He disrespects his cabinet. The cabinet is disrespected. The merit system does not exist. Leadership has led us down a path of miscreants, lies, corruption, and now the whole country down to children in a mess. Why? Because the Prime Minister is an idiot. Vote him out. Good night.